All right. Our next speaker, one second, please, is Jason Kraft. He's with the City of Clinton, and the title of his talk is Clinton Paves the Way, Permeable Pavers, Silva Cells, Bioretention Cells, and Soil Quality Restoration. And I'm going to ask you, as well as I ask the other speakers, what brought about your interest in working with stormwater and water resources?
Yeah. Why don't you use that mic? Get that pointer.
Commands, forward, reverse, and pointer. It's on.
There you go. It's on here somewhere. Get out of here. Right there. We're good. We're good. Hello. Yeah, I guess I'm just always interested since I was a young kid in all different types of quality of life issues, such as plants. I grew up on a farm and always enjoyed the outdoors and the fact that we could enjoy things like streams and parks and plants and that sort of thing as humans. So as I grew into adulthood, more interested in helping provide quality of life for other residents of our planet. So sort of fell into my position as city engineer at the City of Clinton, and I was inspired to do a stormwater treatment project by attending some of these types of seminars that we're at today. So was able to, lucky enough to be a part of a project, and I'll share that with you today. For those of you who aren't familiar with Clinton, Iowa, it's a small town of about 26,000 people along the Mississippi River between Dubuque and Davenport. We haven't invested a lot of money in the past in things such as stormwater treatment, or for that matter, cutting-edge sanitary sewer treatment until recently. And we're slowly, I'd say we're in the infancy stages of our stormwater treatment program, but we hope that this project springboards us into other projects similar to this. I think all of you are aware Mississippi River is a very, I would say, indispensable asset to our community, to those who live around it, and we use it for recreation, we use it for drinking water, many different things. So it's important for those of us communities along the Mississippi to help and do our part to clean up the discharge that we discharge to the river. Brief history of Clinton, Iowa. We were built as a combined sewer town, so virtually every time it rained in Clinton, every pipe has an overflow valve to the river. So we've got a long history of pollution. We're trying to change that. We built a new treatment plant with the help of HDR back in, I think it was 2012. We went online. We were able to implement a lot of new technologies with that treatment plant, won a lot of awards for our nutrient removal strategies. So that sort of got us thinking about how we can start to treat stormwater. Even right now with our new treatment plant and additional capacity there, we've eliminated and consolidated some of our overflow locations. We still have 6 CSO locations, and about every time it rains a quarter inch or more, we see overflows to the Mississippi River of wastewater, combined sewer overflows to the Mississippi River. So it's difficult when you talk to a council about a stormwater treatment project, they already know we have combined sewer issues and sanitary sewer issues. So to get a stormwater project funded is a big deal. So we had to use a lot of creativity with this project. We have a $75 million consent order with the state of Iowa and the DNR that includes the project I'm talking about today. Actually, was a $2 million separation project along Main Avenue, one of our downtown areas of Clinton, Iowa. This is the drainage basin. This is Main Avenue right here. The entire basin was set up as a combined sewer basin draining to this point. This green square represents a combined sewer pump station. So under dry weather, we pumped all of the sanitary flow from this basin. This green line represents a force main down to our treatment plant. And virtually every time it rained above 1/4 inch, this is not able to keep up, and so we overflow to the river. So part of our consent order is to separate this basin. So, like I said, a $2 million project to separate the downtown area. A lot of this other outlying regions of the basin have been separated naturally, but the remaining sub-basin is represented by this orange polygon. It's about a $2 million project. So, as I said earlier, I was inspired. I attended a couple seminars in Cedar Rapids on green infrastructure and stormwater treatment applications, and I was kind of inspired to try to make this project, this known separation project that we needed to undergo, make it a green infrastructure project as well as a separation project. So our goal was to take this 40 CSOs per year at this location right here and drop that to 0 to 6 per year. We built a pump station. That was a $6 million project. Some of the things we were able to do because of the fact that we are providing some treatment and storage with our green infrastructure project was we were able to, I think some people talked today about the DNR sponsored project program. Our $6 million treatment plan, pump station project was something that we funded through SRF, through the SRF program. We borrowed $6 million. I think our interest rate was around 2 or 3% to pay that back. The grant program that the DNR is offering is a increased loan. Successful grant award is a increased loan by 10% of the total cost of the project that they will that the city is able to afford by reducing the interest rate. So we were able to reduce our interest rate on the total loan to pay for separation of this area by using green infrastructure, if that makes sense. This is downtown Main Avenue, downtown Lyons. As you can see, we've got pretty large trees, some of them diseased, old street lights, just asphalt paving. The storm drains drain directly to the sanitary sewer, combined sewer, and then directly to the river. So we're trying to construct a storm sewer project, a separation project through this downtown area, implement green infrastructure practices by using that grant program. And those things were actually really difficult to sell to the community. As you can see, Main Avenue is kind of a depressed, older looking downtown. The business owners up there and the council wanted to see a streetscape project. So the way we sold it to the community, because it does have some city costs, we weren't able to pay for the whole project with the sponsored project, was that we could create a streetscape project within this region as part of the green infrastructure project. So really killed 3 birds with 1 stone, I would say. The basic project that was constructed several years ago was a new stormwater pump station and a new sanitary pump station. So the setup before the separation project occurred is now pumping all sanitary waste through this force main and setting up for separation with the construction of a larger stormwater pump station that will be used exclusively to discharge stormwater, hopefully treated stormwater, into the Mississippi River. So in time, we'll drop that 40 CSOs per year to 0 combined sewer overflow. The project description, try to use as many, our grant application was such that we tried to use as many green infrastructure applications as possible in order to construct essentially a sewer separation project and provide treatment of the water quality volume as well. So this is an overhead view of the project area. These orange lines are permeable parking areas along on-street parking. Green alleys, there's about 5 green alleys. The project basin, the basin-wide area is about 10 parts of 10 city blocks. And most of that water ends up on Main Avenue and actually ends up flowing in the curb line of these parking areas. Soil quality restoration in our park area. Whoops. Went back quite a bit. Soil quality restoration in our park area, some Silva Cells, which are permeable sidewalks adjacent to tree planters, which I'll talk about later, and a couple bioretention cells in the project area as well. This sort of goes along with the last presentation. We, per an Iowa State University study in 2006 on a parking lot that was where they installed some permeable pavements, we were able to show as part of the grant application that we should be able to reduce suspended solids, nitrogen, phosphorus, and heavy metals by certain standards, and we showed the potential for total pollutant removal within our grant application by each of these different BMPs. Silva Cells, there's about 4 city blocks where we were able to design Silva Cells. If you Google Silva Cells, there's a lot of interesting videos on them. What they are is essentially it's an underground rain garden, underground bioretention cell that is constructed below the sidewalk in conjunction with a tree planting and some permeable sidewalk pavers. The way the system works is, I think in a standard urban setting, trees, as you know, obviously find a difficult time to grow through a lot of compacted soils around them. That's why a lot of our trees on Main Avenue were diseased. They were struggling to find the air and water necessary to grow properly. So we actually cut down most of the trees in the corridor and implemented this Silva Cell system. This is sort of an erector set type, it's a PVC system that transfers the load from the sidewalk down to the underlying subgrade. It's about 4 feet deep, 8 to 10 feet wide, and it's a block long. So it's like a PVC erector set that allows you to place uncompacted bioretention cell quality soils within the system that both allows and creates an area for stormwater treatment, like I said, an underground biocell, underground rain garden, and also allows these tree roots to soak up naturally and grow into the system so they can soak up water through uncompacted soils rather than typically over time they struggle to survive as they get larger in a compacted soil system. And then, as I said, the loads are transferred through this structural element, allowing us to place permeable sidewalk pavers on top of the system. So the end result is stormwater infiltration up to the water quality volume that settles out pollutant loads, finds its way into our Silva Cell system. The tree soaks up a lot of the moisture, and if we get a rainstorm of above 1.25 inches, it'll overflow through this plastic subdrain pipe to the storm sewer system. So that's a major component of our project. We also have a couple bioretention cells, which I'm sure you're familiar with those. But in areas where we didn't have any parking along the street, we actually eliminated parking and installed bioretention cells in the area that would have been the parking areas. We were able to do that in 2 city blocks. For the most part, the project included permeable pavers and green alleys. We weren't able to afford full width permeable paving, but we were able to still capture and treat the water quality volume by excavating 10 feet from the curb line out towards the center line of the street and including about a 9-foot wide permeable pavement magazine that's a block long. About 6 city blocks on each side of the street we installed this system, which we underneath it, of course, we included 2 to 3 feet of granular material, oven graded granular material to settle out the pollutant loads and handle the water quality volume, as I said. So we didn't get the whole project constructed last year as we thought we would. We had a rough winter and we got a late start. These photographs were taken several weeks ago. We only got two of the permeable parking areas installed last year. We'll break ground in the spring again to get those installed. But the residents up there are real happy with the way the parking areas, the way that the project turned out as a streetscape project. The green alleys, we did get all of those completed last year. The first step in the process was digging down and replacing the sanitary sewer. It was an old clay pipe with a lot of fractures in it. Get a lot of infiltration that causes combined sewer overflows that way. So we made sure we replaced all of the sanitary sewer under the alley. That's this first excavation. This is actually then the subdrain pipe, the overflow pipe for the system for rainstorms above that can't percolate into the subgrade underlying soil system. Provide a filter fabric or an engineering fabric to make sure that the underlying soil system and the rock base aren't commingled in the future. And then we put construct the open graded drainage course and the curbs along each side of the alley, as well as then a suitable gradation for the brick pavers. We did this in 4 about 600-foot long alleys within the drainage basin, and each of these then overflow through this pipe after it's treated to the storm sewer system in areas where the subgrade is not suitable for complete infiltration. Found a lot of clay. I guess I should back up and say we found a lot of clay subgrades during our soil tests, so we weren't able to totally filter a lot of the water into the subgrade. It's something along the lines of maybe 10 to 20%. Most of it, the storm water is just treated and then overflows through this overflow pipe to the storm sewer system. And that's what the green alleys look like today. Before the project, I should have had a before picture, but before the project, it looked more like this: beat up, chewed up asphalt with a lot of ponding and straight overflows to the combined sewer system. And well, today, I mean, a lot of the residents and business owners are happy with the way that looks. In conjunction with this, then we installed underneath all of the permeable parking areas, we installed storm sewer pipes to collect a lot of the treated stormwater overflow, and we will eventually construct that system all the way down to the previously constructed pumping station. So what we will have is a separated basin with a water quality and stormwater treatment element added to it. Some of the project benefits, like I said, we're able to now drain a portion of the smaller storms into underlying soils. We will be able to lower our total amount of CSOs to the Mississippi River by this project, improve water quality, and all by using green infrastructure. We were able to do it with grant funding, by reducing the peak runoff, and by reducing a certain amount of the total volume. We were able to install a slightly smaller size pumping station and stormwater system downstream of this, because we knew we could knock down the peaks and store it in the rock chambers beneath the paving. So that saved us a little money as well. And the main things for the citizens of Clinton, we were able to fulfill a separation requirement that was mandated by the state, and provide the downtown area with a streetscape project along the way as well. So we're only about halfway done with the project, and but so far it's gone quite well. Is there any questions?
Back the slide. How did you make the transition from your paper parking lanes to your main street? Is there a concrete floor there?
Yeah, there's between the parking areas, which are, there's about an 8-foot wide concrete approach there. So the stormwater drains across that and still gets into the rock chambers once it reaches the parking area.
So you're treating your asphalt or concrete, so you're going to strip there to put the brick up there? Second, this is a picture of it before that.
Yeah. This you mean?
That right now.
Yeah.
Right there. Is there a border there?
That's just a header to place these bricks were placed mostly by hand.
What's that line? Is that concrete though, or is that?
This back here?
No, there's not.
Yeah, this is just a concrete header. So we saw cutted, we removed the curb totally, saw cutted about 10 feet out into the pavement, dug down 3 feet, installed the rock chamber, and then poured a concrete header around this in order to construct the brick system against. And like I said, it just worked out that all of the stormwater intakes on this project were right at the end of one of these parking areas, not at the alleys. So any water that overflows from the alley is still able to make it out onto the parking area, down the block, and to the stormwater intake. So we're able to drain the 1 1/4 inch rainstorm and probably more than that. I forget exactly the amount into these types of systems. Is there any other questions?
You plan on moving forward with the Silva Cell installations this year?
Yeah, it'll be the first thing this spring. We were fully ready to do it last November. We ran into a lot of colder weather, but we've talked to a lot of communities that have installed those. We got some references before we specified the system, and everyone seems to be happy with it. You know, you get a longer lifespan for your trees. You get an aesthetic look to your sidewalk and a water quality treatment benefit as well. Like I said, it's an underground bioretention cell, so it's a bioretention cell that you can still use and walk through, basically.
What, you may not know, what kind of maintenance practices go along with those?
With the Silva cells themselves, I'm not absolutely sure. I'm sure that the trees are going to last longer, live longer, thrive and flourish better. With the brick pavers, I don't anticipate on a sidewalk it's going to be a huge problem. It's mostly the business owners are still going to maintain the snow, and if some of the bricks pop out or crack over, as Brian said, 40 to 50 year lifespan, I guess we won't be around to see how that goes. But as far as the Silva cells, I'm not for sure. We'll just have to kind of wait and see on that.
Do you have a back truck for maintaining the permeable pavers in the street and the alleys?
We'll have to hire that. We'll have to hire a contractor to do that twice a year, or another governmental agency. We don't have our own vac trucks that can properly do that, but we do intend on doing that this spring and again in the fall.
Any other questions? Okay, if not, thank you very much.
Yep.